Hey everybody, it's Nitrate unboxing day. Here's some stuff that just came from UCLA Archives. Those folks are so nice and they're kind to send these out our way. These are the last of the Flip the Frog elements. If you don't count the couple things that are showing up from Eastman House. And they're also incredibly kind. They found a couple kind of cool elements. One is Cuckoo the Magician. These appear to be Canadian masters. So they're fine grains, which means they're probably from the negative. Let's see how they look, and those will be scanned in the next week or two. So Flip is moving along. But I'm super excited about these because these are things that I've wanted to see forever, so we'll open them up and see what we got here. When you're getting nitrate, it needs to always be shipped hazmat. They do a really nice job packing them. Some of these are going to be sound elements, and there's also a couple of rainbow parades in here. The Perna spinning mice is here, and Japanese lanterns. Let's see what we got. Cool. This is Cuckoo Murder Case. I had them send a couple different ones here. This one is a CMP, so this is a composite master positive. That means that there's sound and picture both on the same piece of film. So master positive is made so that a dupe negative can be made. So they actually made this in two steps. They would take the original negative and make a copy of that and keep the soundtrack unexposed. And then they'd go back and make a second pass with just the soundtrack. I got two elements of Cuckoo Murder Case in because one of them was different than the rest of the elements on the film. One of them was a full-frame movie tone aperture, and oddly enough, it looked like it was shot differently. Like not just the size of the picture, the other one was in a smaller, not quite Academy aperture, but pretty close. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, this is cool. So this Master Positive on Cuckoo Murder Case has the MGM titles on it, and it's on the really light lavender stock. So this has got to be the 1930 Master Positive. It's always unbelievable to look at a piece of film like this and see them in such good shape. It's in perfect shape. So I don't know. I'm gonna look at the movie tone one also and just see what that looks like. But gosh, this is perfect. Here, take a look at that. So this is a lavender on DuPont stock, so it isn't Kodak's lavender. Kodaks tend to be a little bit more lavender-ish. These tend to be really, really light lavender. So almost more blue sometimes, but just slightly too. You'd almost need to look at a white film stock to see the difference. Cool. Hey, it's the storm at the beginning of the Cuckoo Murder Case. So this is probably the element that all other elements have come from on this film, and because it's a protection print, it wasn't used over and over again. So, which makes some sense why it's in such absolutely perfect condition. Not a scratch on it. Just a gorgeous element. I always like these little titles that they have here because they're almost always also in kind of a cool font. So here's Spinning Mice, which I've been wanting to see forever. This is one of the few. In fact, this is the only element that I haven't seen, other than putting it on the rewinds very briefly a couple of years back at UCLA. You guys, I'm going to be so glad to be done with both Rainbow Parade and Flip the Frog. Not that I don't like dealing with the elements, but it's been just years just working on these projects. I have a feeling that the print of Spinning Mice wasn't one of the masters. I think that this is just a print, because this darn thing is really beat up. And that's the principal reason that it's ended up back here. When things are too beat up, if you send something to a lab to have scanned, generally they're not going to clean it anymore these days. And generally they're not going to be able to run things as a wet gate. So I try to get all the cleaning and stuff done out here. Oh, this is cool. Oh, and it's brittle too, and this is polar opposite of what we had on that Flip the Frog element, because this one's really beat up. But take a look. Looks really nice. But it doesn't have the full title. Oh, it's really super beat up. Sprockets are, I don't know if you can see this, but this is pretty typical of an old beat up Nitrate print versus a master, is that you get sprockets that are torn up like that. And we'll see if that run continues. Oh, this is cool, actually. So right away we can tell where this print was shown, I think, because pretty frequently the local production people, or I'm sorry, the local censor would mark the film. Hi, doggy. They would mark the film with, like actually make marks into it, and this one looks like it's from Virginia. I don't know what that says, number, whatever that says. Maryland? So it looks like it was in Virginia and in Maryland. It's at two different points, possibly. I might be wrong here. Yeah. I wonder if that means the Maryland board actually passed it. They actually marked the film. And this is the other thing to know. When films are at an archive, it doesn't mean they've necessarily been looked at very much. Like I have there's a cellophane tape splice putting the film together there. So George Williman at the Library of Congress sometimes posts wonderful pictures of some of the things they've seen. So here you go. So this is pretty typical. This is why you can't just take this to a lab and just run it, because you'll have sections that are literally missing the sprockets entirely. And it looks like this one has been cobbled back together with Scotch tape at some point. So this wasn't a master of any kind, really. This is probably just the only extant, or as we know anyway, Cinecolor print. So this is kind of a cool thing that showed up as I was going through this. This is the Milkman. It's also one of the last flips to do, and this is a print master positive, which means it's the picture element. And one of the things that I came across when I was looking through elements over at UCLA was that all of the cores had been taken off the film, because at some point it was thought that the cores that were on there, that there was a reaction between the nitrate and that, and it was causing, between the nitrate and the plastic, that was causing some sort of deterioration. And so you had a lot of stuff here, like the majority of the Flip the Frog elements were like this, and we tried to recore a lot of them, but I started running out of time. So I'm glad that this one showed up here, because now I can do this, but you can see that that's how the end of the film was just left on here. And it looks like the end title on there. This was the element that I was most excited about. There isn't necessarily proper archival care taken of the film beyond that. There's just too many films over there to be able to do that. So we really love about these. As projects like this are getting done, pretty frequently we're able to go back and kind of look at it. It's in just beautiful shape. Okay, and that's the MPAA logo. And of course, if you folks have been following at all the blog, then you know that we did a scan on this one already. And because of the amount of dirt on it, I think it needed to be wet gated, so we're redoing a scan on it. Looks quite beautiful. I'm super excited about this one.